Not every gift is meant to bless you. Some arrive wrapped in kindness, delivered with smiles, soft words and good intentions, yet they carry something hidden, something heavy, something that doesn't feel right, even when you can't explain why. Islam warns us about this, not openly, not loudly, but clearly, for those who are paying attention. There are gifts that open doors to peace, and there are gifts that open doors you were never meant to walk through. If you have ever accepted something and felt your heart grow uneasy, if you ever wondered why your peace shifted after saying yes, if you ever felt pressure disguised as generosity, this message is not random. Tonight we uncover 7 powerful signs Islam teaches us to recognize, signs that tell you this gift is not from Allah, and accepting it may cost you far more than you realize. Listen carefully. One decision, one moment of awareness, may protect your faith, your peace, and your future. When your heart feels heavy, it is a warning. Islam teaches us that the heart is not just an emotional center, it is a spiritual compass. Allah placed in the human heart an ability to recognize truth, even before the mind fully understands it. This is why some things look right on the surface, but feel deeply wrong inside. When a gift is offered and your heart tightens, when your chest feels uneasy, when you sense discomfort without a clear reason, this is not weakness and it is not overthinking. This is your fitra responding to a hidden imbalance. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught that righteousness brings tranquility to the heart, while sin and harm create inner disturbance, even if people approve of it outwardly. Many people ignore this warning because they fear appearing ungrateful or rude. Islam, however, never commands us to sacrifice spiritual safety for social comfort. A believer is taught to value inner clarity over outward approval. When Allah protects someone, he often does so quietly, through hesitation, discomfort, and pauses that feel inconvenient in the moment, but prove merciful later. A pure gift brings light. It settles the heart. It does not demand justification. It does not cause inner conflict. When something is from Allah, even if it carries difficulty, it comes with calm certainty. But when a gift carries hidden harm, the heart senses resistance before the mind catches up. This resistance is not accidental. It is a shield. Shaitan rarely presents harm openly. He decorates it. He wraps danger in politeness, generosity, and good intentions. That is why the heart reacts first. A believer who learns to respect this signal protects their Iman before it is tested beyond endurance. There is a difference between being kind and being careless. Islam teaches balance, generosity with wisdom, openness with boundaries. If a gift leaves you restless, if it lingers in your thoughts with discomfort, if your prayers feel heavy after accepting it, do not ignore these signs. They are not random emotions. They are warnings written into your soul. The strongest believers are not those who accept everything. They are those who recognize when Allah is quietly saying, "Step back." Trusting that message is an act of faith. A gift that comes with strings is not a gift. Islam draws a clear line between generosity and control. A true gift is given freely, with no expectation, no pressure, and no hidden cost. The moment something is given with conditions, spoken or unspoken, it stops being a gift and becomes a tool. Many people do not recognize this immediately because the conditions are rarely stated outright. Instead, they appear slowly. You may feel an obligation to agree, to stay silent, to tolerate behavior you once rejected, or to compromise values you used to protect. The gift becomes a reminder that you owe something in return. This sense of debt is not accidental. It is designed. Islam warns us against allowing ourselves to be trapped by favors that bind the soul. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught that the best charity is that which is given sincerely, without reminding the receiver or seeking superiority. When someone repeatedly references what they gave you, when they expect loyalty, obedience, or emotional access because of it, their intention was never pure. A gift that carries strings creates imbalance. It shifts power. It places one person above another and silently demands submission. Islam does not endorse relationships built on leverage. It teaches dignity, fairness, and freedom of conscience. This is why some gifts feel heavy after acceptance. They introduce unspoken expectations that sit on the heart like a burden. You may feel watched, judged, pressured to maintain gratitude even when harm appears. Over time, this erodes self-respect and spiritual clarity. A believer must remember that Allah alone is the true provider. No human being sustains you. No person's generosity should make you feel owned, controlled, or small. When something is truly from Allah, it increases your independence, not your dependency. Walking away from a gift that comes with strings is not ingratitude, it is wisdom. Islam teaches us that preserving our dignity and faith is worth more than accepting anything that chains the heart. When a gift distances you from Allah, reject it, even if it looks perfect. Islam gives the believer a clear and uncompromising principle. Anything that pulls you away from Allah is not a blessing, no matter how attractive, expensive, or socially acceptable it appears. A gift is not judged by how it looks in the hand, but by what it does to the heart after it is accepted. Some gifts do not harm you immediately. That is what makes them dangerous. They enter your life quietly and begin changing small things first. Your priorities shift. Your sensitivity dulls. Things that once felt uncomfortable now feel normal. You still believe, you still pray, but the presence is weaker, the focus lighter, the urgency softer. Faith does not disappear, it erodes. This is how spiritual loss usually happens, not through rebellion, but through gradual neglect. Islam teaches that Allah never guides through disobedience. He never sends goodness that requires you to compromise your values, weaken your modesty, silence your conscience, or excuse behavior you once knew was wrong. When something pushes you to justify what Allah warned against, that thing has already crossed a dangerous line. A gift that distances you from Allah may come in many forms. It may encourage environments where remembrance fades. It may normalize speech, habits, or relationships that slowly reshape your moral compass. It may pull your attention so strongly toward the dunya that the akhirah feels distant and theoretical rather than urgent and real. The danger is not what you lose immediately, it is what you stop protecting. Many people fall into spiritual decline, not because they rejected faith, but because they accepted things that slowly rearranged their loyalties. Shaitan rarely invites people to abandon Allah outright. Instead, he offers comfort, ease, status, or pleasure, and whispers, "Just this once. It's harmless. You deserve it." Over time, the heart adapts to what it once resisted. Islam warns us about this subtle drift. A believer is commanded to guard the heart, because once the heart is compromised, the mind follows. When a gift leads to less remembrance, weaker discipline, or casual attitudes towards sin, it is no longer neutral. It has become a force shaping your direction. Some people argue, but the gift itself isn't haram. Islam does not only teach us to avoid what is clearly forbidden, it teaches us to avoid what leads to harm. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, warned that between halal and haram are doubtful matters, and those who protect themselves from them protect their faith and honor. Wisdom lies in prevention, not regret. A gift that distracts you from Allah may not look evil. It may look like success, opportunity, affection, or generosity. But ask yourself honestly, does it make obedience easier or harder? Does it strengthen humility or inflate the ego? Does it remind you of Allah or make remembrance feel inconvenient. If the answer points toward distance, the cost is too high. Rejecting such a gift is not loss. It is protection. It is choosing clarity over confusion, eternity over immediacy, faith over appearance. Allah does not test His servants to break them. He tests them to elevate them. When you walk away from something for His sake, you are not closing a door, you are trusting Him to open a better one. What you protect today may save you tomorrow. What you refuse may preserve your Iman when nothing else could. And sometimes, the greatest mercy is not what Allah gives you, but what He keeps away from your hands. When the giver's character is dark, question the gift. Wisdom before trust. Islam never taught blind trust. It taught discernment. A believer is not required to suspect everyone, but they are commanded to observe, reflect, and act with wisdom. One of the most overlooked truths is this: a gift carries the intention and spiritual state of the one who gives it. When the character of the giver is corrupted, unstable, or known for harmful behavior, Islam teaches caution, not out of arrogance, but out of self-preservation. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, warned that a person is influenced by those they associate with. Influence does not require closeness. Sometimes, it enters quietly through gestures of generosity. A person who lies easily, manipulates others, envies success, spreads gossip, or thrives on control, does not suddenly become pure when they give a gift. Their patterns do not disappear because of generosity. Instead, generosity often becomes another tool in their pattern. What they give is not always meant to benefit, sometimes it is meant to bind. This is why Islam places immense importance on akhlaq, character. Deeds without sincerity have no spiritual weight. A gift from someone whose behavior repeatedly harms others should raise questions, not gratitude alone. Wisdom asks, why now? What changed? What does this open the door to? Many people accept gifts because they assume refusal is rude. Islam does not agree. The religion values intention over appearance and protection over politeness. Yusuf, peace be upon him, refused comfort and compromise even when it cost him ease, because character matters more than convenience. A gift from someone with a dark character often comes with hidden expectations. It may be a way to soften your boundaries, gain access to your life, or shift power in their favor. Sometimes it is used to silence you, to make you feel you cannot speak up when harm appears, because you owe them. Islam teaches us that envy is real, resentment is real, and ill intentions do not always announce themselves. A person who is jealous of your peace, your faith, or your success may approach you with generosity, not hostility. Harm does not always come with anger. Sometimes it comes with a smile. This is why believers are taught to judge patterns, not performances. A single kind act does not erase a history of harm. A gift does not cleanse a corrupted heart. When the source is unstable, the offering must be questioned. Questioning is not accusing, it is wisdom. Allah does not ask you to expose yourself to spiritual or emotional harm to prove good manners. He asks you to protect what He entrusted to you, your heart, your faith, and your safety. Walking away from a gift when the giver's character raises concern is not ingratitude. It is obedience, and often it is Allah answering a silent prayer you did not even realize you were making. Gifts used to open doors are dangerous when generosity is a strategy. Islam teaches us that not every door that opens is meant to be entered. Some doors are opened to test your awareness, not to reward your patience. One of the most dangerous forms of deception is generosity that is designed not to help you, but to gain access to you. A gift can be used as a key to your trust, a key to your privacy, a key to your emotions, a key to influence your decisions. These gifts often arrive unexpectedly, too early, too quickly. Before trust has been built, before character has been proven, before boundaries are established, Islam teaches us to ask why, not with suspicion, but with wisdom. When something arrives prematurely, it is often not generosity, it is positioning. A sincere gift respects distance. It does not rush closeness. It does not demand intimacy, access, or influence. It does not make you feel like a door has suddenly been unlocked without your consent. False generosity, however, is impatient. It wants entry now. It wants familiarity before trust. It wants influence before accountability. Many people fall into harm not because they were greedy, but because they were polite. They accepted gifts to avoid discomfort, to avoid appearing cold, to avoid confrontation. Islam does not teach self-destruction in the name of politeness. It teaches strength with adab and boundaries with dignity. A gift used to open doors often comes with subtle pressure afterward. Suddenly, expectations appear, conversations shift, access increases, personal questions emerge. Emotional closeness is assumed. Resistance feels awkward because they were kind to you. This is how boundaries erode, not through force but through obligation. Islam places great importance on consent and intention. You are not obligated to open your life to someone simply because they were generous. Allah alone has the right to unrestricted access to your heart. Everyone else earns proximity through consistency, sincerity, and character, not gifts. Some people give to gain leverage, some give to soften resistance, some give to create emotional debt. The gift becomes a silent agreement you never signed, yet feel bound to honor. Over time, this creates confusion. Why do I feel uncomfortable saying no? Why do I feel watched? Why do I feel controlled? The answer often traces back to a door that was opened too early. Islam warns against allowing closeness without clarity. Even the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, exercised wisdom in whom he trusted, and how quickly trust was earned through time, not purchased through generosity. A believer must understand this truth clearly. Not everyone who gives wants your good. Some want your access. Some want your silence. Some want your loyalty. Some want your weakness. The gift is simply the method. Refusing such a gift is not rejecting kindness. It is protecting boundaries Allah commanded you to guard. You are not sinful for saying no. You are not ungrateful for stepping back. You are not arrogant for preserving distance. Sometimes Allah protects you not by closing doors, but by testing whether you will walk through the wrong one. The strongest believers are not those who accept everything offered to them. They are those who recognize when generosity is being used as a shortcut to influence. When you learn to pause, observe, and protect your boundaries, you are not pushing people away. You are honoring the trust Allah placed within you. And often, the gift you refuse is the very thing that would have cost you your peace. When a gift creates fear, confusion, or even restlessness, it is not from Allah. Islam gives us a powerful principle that cuts through confusion. Allah is Al-Salam, the source of peace. What comes from Him may test you, challenge you, or require patience, but it will never poison your heart with chaos, fear, or inner unrest. When a gift enters your life, and instead of calm it brings anxiety, overthinking, and spiritual unease, Islam teaches you to pause because something is wrong. Some people mistake emotional intensity for destiny. They believe that because something feels strong, dramatic, or overwhelming, it must be meaningful or important. Islam does not teach us to chase emotional turbulence. It teaches us to seek clarity. Guidance brings light, not fog. Even when Allah tests a believer, He grants them inner steadiness to endure it. A gift that introduces confusion does not arrive all at once. At first it may feel exciting or flattering, but soon it begins to disturb your balance. You replay conversations in your mind, You feel pressure you cannot explain. You sense expectations that were never spoken. The heart feels busy instead of grounded. This is not a coincidence. Confusion is one of Shaitan's favorite tools. Islam warns us that Shaitan whispers gradually. He does not rush people into clear harm. He leads them into emotional and spiritual disorientation so that right and wrong begin to blur. When clarity disappears, boundaries weaken. When boundaries weaken, harm enters easily. A believer must ask, why do I feel unsettled? If something is from Allah, even if it is difficult, it aligns the heart. It does not fracture it. A test from Allah may bring tears, but it also brings certainty. A trap brings noise without direction. Some gifts create fear. Fear of losing approval, fear of saying no, fear of disappointing someone, fear of consequences you cannot name. Islam does not teach fear of people. It teaches fear of Allah alone. When a gift subtly shifts your fear away from Allah and toward a human being, something has gone wrong. Confusion is not neutrality, it is a signal. When your thoughts feel tangled, when your intuition resists, when your peace disappears after accepting something, Islam teaches that this is a warning, not a weakness. The believer who ignores these signs often pays later with regret. Allah's guidance simplifies. Shaitan complicates. Allah brings focus. Shaitan brings distraction. Allah brings peace. Shaitan brings restlessness. Many people remain in harmful situations not because they are blind, but because they are confused. Confusion paralyzes decision-making. It makes people doubt themselves. It keeps them stuck. That is why Islam emphasizes seeking clarity through reflection, prayer, and consultation. Walking away from something that disturbs your inner peace is not failure. It is obedience. Allah does not demand that you endure confusion to prove faith. He commands you to protect your heart, because a disturbed heart cannot worship with presence. If a gift leaves you anxious instead of grateful, restless instead of calm, fearful instead of grounded, then no matter how beautiful it looks, it is not from Allah. What Allah sends may test you, but it will never rob you of peace. Sometimes the clearest sign of danger is not what you see, but what you feel after everything is said and done. Walking away can be an act of worship. When saying no pleases Allah, Islam does not measure faith by how much you tolerate, but by how much you are willing to surrender for Allah's sake. One of the most misunderstood truths is this: sometimes the most powerful form of worship is not patience, it is walking away. Many people stay attached to harmful situations because they believe endurance is always rewarded. Islam does not teach blind endurance. It teaches wisdom. There is patience that elevates, and there is patience that enables harm. Knowing the difference is part of spiritual maturity. When a believer walks away from a gift that carries danger, they are not rejecting kindness. They are choosing obedience. They are trusting Allah's wisdom over their own fear of missing out. This decision is rarely loud or dramatic. Often it is quiet, lonely, and misunderstood. But in the sight of Allah, it is heavy with reward. Saying no is difficult because it confronts social pressure. People fear appearing ungrateful, arrogant, or unkind. Islam never asked you to destroy yourself to preserve someone else's comfort. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, set boundaries even when misunderstood, because pleasing Allah came before pleasing people. Walking away requires trust. Trust that Allah is the provider. Trust that what is meant for you cannot be taken by refusal. Trust that what harms you will never benefit you, even if it sparkles at the surface. This trust transforms refusal into worship. Many believers do not realize how often Allah protects them through missed opportunities, rejected offers, and closed doors. What looks like loss in the moment may be salvation in disguise. What feels like discomfort may be mercy unfolding quietly. Islam teaches that Allah replaces what is left for His sake with something better, not always immediately, but always meaningfully. Sometimes the replacement is external peace, stability, clarity. Sometimes it is internal strength, discernment, and confidence in faith. The believer who learns to walk away stops being controlled by fear. Fear of people, fear of judgment, fear of regret. They learn that Allah's approval outweighs every other voice. This is not weakness. This is spiritual authority. Walking away also resets your relationship with yourself. It teaches you to respect your intuition, honor your boundaries, and protect your Iman. Over time, this builds resilience. You no longer accept things simply because they are offered. You choose deliberately, guided by faith, not pressure. Some gifts are tests of gratitude. Others are tests of discernment. Passing the second test often requires courage, the courage to disappoint people in order to please Allah. When you walk away with sincerity, Allah sees it, He records it, and He protects you in ways you may never fully understand. The door you closed may have led to darkness. The door Allah opens afterward may lead to light you could not imagine. Sometimes, the greatest proof of faith is not what you accept, but what you refuse for the sake of Allah. Not everything that reaches your hands is meant to stay in your life. Some things come to reveal your awareness, some come to test your discernment, and some come only to see whether you will listen to the quiet warnings Allah places in your heart. Islam does not teach us to fear gifts, it teaches us to understand them. What brings peace is from Allah. What brings confusion, pressure, and inner unrest is not. If you felt clarity while listening to this message, do not ignore it. Reflection is often the first step of protection. Ask Allah for guidance, for wisdom, and for the strength to walk away when walking away is the right choice. Remember this truth: Allah protects you not only by what He gives, but by what He removes, delays, or keeps away from you. Trust Him enough to say no. Trust Him enough to pause. Trust Him enough to choose peace over politeness. Sometimes, the greatest mercy is not the gift you receive, but the one you never accept.